Hi, 7th graders. Today I get to share some of the stories that are in your classroom, some of the books that Dr. CurryBradach has in the room that you'll be getting to choose from and read. And the theme around this is just human stories. You know, what are some of the things and themes that make us human, that connect us, and that, bring us together, that make us more alike than different? Before we get to those books today, I do have a couple of library-related announcements. The first one is that on Schoology and on the library homepage, I did post a spring reading challenge. If you are already reading or will be reading for class, I hope that you'll consider doing this. It's a bingo card that you can download to Notability and send my way by May 21st. There are prizes available that we'll be drawing for, and it's just a bingo card to fill out. Lots of reading options on here, everything from reading a full book of some kind to even turning on and reading the captions of a favorite movie or TV show, reading recipes and making something. So lots of different little options on there. Again, you can download it to Notability off of the link I posted on Schoology, or it is on the library homepage as well. So take a look, send me a question, or let me know if you do have any questions about that. But otherwise, I hope that you'll plan to participate, especially if you're reading anyway. You might as well. Other announcements, the Scholastic Book Fair will be back in person, yay, the week of May 10th through the 14th. So there will be more information coming about that soon. We also, in the month of May, are going to try and wrap up and get back all of our library books and materials like we do at the end of every school year. Especially if you have things that are still sitting in your rooms, your cars, your backpacks from last year. We'd like to get that stuff back. We want to get things cleaned up, get your records clear, so that you can go into summer vacation without getting emails and notices about overdue books. We would like to get our things back and get everything organized and ready so that we're all set for September. So please help us to do that. The deadline for all those things is Friday, May 28th, and we appreciate you taking a look at home to see if you have anything overdue from this year or last, maybe even things from elementary school that are still sitting out there. We want to help you get those back. The first book from your classroom I'm sharing today is George by Alex Gino. This story is about a girl who the world identifies as a boy. Story of gender identity and just really identity in general. Let's take a look at a trailer to tell you more about this story. I absolutely adore that book, George by Alex Gino. If you've already read that one, we have Alex Gino's latest book called Rick in the library. Fish in a Tree by Linda Mullally Hunt This comes from, or the title is sort of inspired by that quote, that everybody is smart in different ways, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its life believing it's stupid. Allie's the main character in this story, and she, for her whole life, has believed that she's not smart. She has, though, been smart enough to fool a lot of smart people, in her opinion. Every time she's ended up in a new school, and she's bounced around quite a bit, she's been able to hide the fact that she can't really read. The letters mix themselves around, they turn themselves, they flip upside down, because Allie has dyslexia. And she has been able to fool people because she creates these little distractions. She does things that get herself in trouble. She does things to keep people from noticing that she can't really read the way that others can. Her newest teacher at this school, however, sees how bright and creative Allie is. And he notices that she's incredibly smart, that it's just this dyslexia that is something that is just standing in her way a little bit from getting all the way to where she wants to be. He helps her to see she doesn't need to be so hard on herself, and that it's nothing to be ashamed of. And for the first time, Allie is seeing herself in a whole different light. Fish in a Tree by Linda Mullally Hunt, a terrific story about seeing that there's a lot more to you than a label or something that maybe you've seen as an obstacle before, and now you no longer have to see it that way. All American Boys by Jason Reynolds is maybe, of all the books that are in this book talk, the most relevant to what's going on in today's current events, especially what's happening in the Twin Cities. This story has Rashad, a black teenage boy, in a gas station. He trips over a woman in the store, or a lady kind of trips over him, and he drops a bag of chips. And this turns into this big scuffle. The gas station, attendant says that Rashad is stealing. A cop comes after him. Rashad tries to explain he wasn't stealing, he tripped, he dropped the chips, but no one's listening to what Rashad says, and the cop really goes after him, pummels him, beats him up, puts Rashad in the hospital. Quinn, Rashad's classmate, a white kid, sees what happens, doesn't say anything in the moment because he figures the truth is going to come out, what actually happened. He knows Rashad. He knows Rashad wasn't stealing. He knows that Rashad wouldn't do that. And he figures, there's security cameras, the truth will come out eventually. But days go by and the truth isn't coming out. The school is talking about it. The news is talking about it. And Rashad's truth isn't being shared in the right way. Some people are saying it. Others are saying something else. It's very clear that racism and prejudice is still alive and well in this community. And Quinn is seeing that he needs to speak out and not just be that bystander, and needs to say what he saw. This story, this issue, again, connects so well to so many current events today in All American Boys, and I think would be an incredible read for many to read right now. Jason Reynolds, fabulous author, All American Boys, fabulous book. The next book is a graphic novel, Pashmina, and I'm going to let the book trailer tell you a little bit about it before I do. I love the use of color and black and white to demonstrate the two different worlds that Pri is experiencing in this story. The use of reality and fantasy. And if you love graphic novels, I think you'll really enjoy this particular story. Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli is a story that you may have seen come across Netflix if you have that. You may have seen the movie. I really enjoyed it. I watched it this summer and thought it was really, really nicely done. This is a great book about what it is to be normal. Stargirl arrives at Micah High as someone who stands out for sure. She sounds different, looks different, acts differently. She's a girl walking around the school with a ukulele and singing happy birthday to people that she hardly knows. And she seems to know things about people without them even really telling her. Things about them that mean something to them. It's like she knows them already. And this captures people's attention and their hearts and their minds, and she becomes this sort of sensation, this really popular girl, because she is so different and she doesn't care what other people think. She is just entirely herself. And that really works for her at first. And then something happens and the school turns on her. And they decide really collectively as a school, as a group, that it isn't okay to be that way, that she needs to do things to fit in. And our main character, Leo, who has become a good friend of hers, even more than a friend, also is trying to convince Stargirl that, oh my gosh, Stargirl, can you just be like everybody else? And what happens when we are trying to tell people to not be themselves, to not be the very unique things that make you you, and instead just blend in? This story will capture you, I think, in the way that Stargirl captures the hearts and attention of her classmates. Try out this book by Jerry Spinelli. Miracle's Boys by Jacqueline Woodson. If you've read any of Jacqueline Woodson's books, you know that her books are always filled with so much heart and emotion, and this one is no exception. It's about 3 boys who are living without their mom and dad any longer. They've been living with their mom, but their mom has recently passed away, and they are now orphans. And our 12-year-old main character is the one telling the story about himself and his older brothers. His 15-year-old brother has just gotten home from a juvenile detention center where he spent time there for armed robbery. And this story is just about these boys trying to scrape by. They're quite poor. They're living on just barely getting by, and especially without parents there to make some money and to help them out. They're just trying to survive as kids, and also grieving the loss of their mom and how hard it is to lose someone. This story is not all doom and gloom, but it is certainly an emotional story and one where grief plays a huge role. Miracle's Boys by Jacqueline Woodson, an emotional book, and a story about brotherhood too. Paper Things by Jennifer Jacobson, another story where siblings are trying to make it on their own. The mother in the story, before she passed away, 4 years before the story began, she asked her children to make a promise. She said, "I have 2 final wishes before I die. One wish is that you two stay together." And Ari and Gage promised that they would. She also said, "My second wish is that Ari, you will go to the middle school for gifted students. You're so smart, and I want you to go there, and I want you to work hard." And Ari said that she would. Well, that promise is a little bit harder for Ari to carry out than she thought. Ari and Gage are staying together. They are holding it together, but Gage doesn't want to stay living with their really bossy guardian. And so Gage is 19, and he said, "You know what? We don't need Jana. Let's just go." And he takes Ari and he says, "We can go stay with my girlfriend for a while." And then I've got a friend. We can go sleep on his couch for a bit. And so Ari and Gage are homeless. They're moving from place to place. They're staying a night here, a night there. They'll stay in a shelter for a couple of nights and then bounce somewhere else. But for Ari to really get a handle on her schoolwork at this very challenging school, it's tough to do when you don't have a place to call home. When you're in other people's places, there's no real schedule, there's no consistency. And this is that story of being homeless, but kind of in plain sight. You're not homeless in the sense of being on the streets. They've got some people to rely on, but it isn't enough that they're finding a lot of success. The book is Paper Things. It's by Jennifer Jacobson. Read this to find out, is Ari going to be able to keep her promise to her mom? And how are she and Gage going to make it through? The last book I'm sharing with you from your classroom is Soul Surfer by Bethany Hamilton. And this is the only one of the collection, I guess, I'm sharing that is a nonfiction read. If you're someone who prefers to read something true, this is a true story of a professional surfer who had an accident and lived to tell the tale. I'll show you a quick little video about that right here. Bethany's story is pretty incredible, to have been attacked by a shark, lose an arm, and be surfing 1 month later, to have incredible success afterwards. This is, as you can see, the subtitle to the book, A True Story of Faith, Family, and Fighting to Get Back on the Board. I hope one of these books sounds like a good read to you. I know you have lots of others to choose from on the shelves. I didn't want to take a lot of time to share all of the books that are there, but hope at least one of them sounds like a book you might want to read. Thanks so much for your time. Happy reading.